As the Senate prepares for the expected start of the impeachment trial this upcoming week, House GOP leaders are investigating the original whistleblower complaint that started the inquiry in the first place. The ranking Republican on the Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, sending this letter to the intelligence community's Inspector General, demanding answers over inconsistencies that were found in the complaint. Congressman Nunes joins me now exclusively. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Great to be with you, Maria.
I've got your letter in front of me. Tell us the crux.
Well, the bottom line is that Republicans asked back into September for the ICIG to provide emails, documentation about how it's possible that someone that only had secondhand information could possibly be a whistleblower when it wasn't on the form. What we got back was essentially a non-answer answer at the early stages of October. At that time, we moved into impeachment in the House, and what I said at the time, even though the media largely ignored it, I said that we're not finished with the ICIG. Lo and behold, the Democrats know that the ICIG is a major problem. You know why? Because they haven't released his testimony. So he's the only one of all the Star Chamber games that were played in the basement of the Capitol with these secretive interviews. The only one that's not released is the one with the IC Inspector General. That's unacceptable. So what we're asking for here is, because what he's claiming is essentially that we're just dumb, we made mistakes, it was a huge mistake. That's fine if you want to claim incompetence, but you need to have the documentation, the evidence to prove that you were indeed incompetent, because it just doesn't pass the smell test, and it looks so much like everything else we've seen, from the Russia hoax to the Ukraine hoax that became the impeachment scam.
This is unbelievable. So do you think you'll get these answers?
Well, I think it's pertinent that the ICIG get these answers by Friday, because this is the guy who lit the fuse for this impeachment scam that's now going to be on trial in the Senate. So if he wants to clear his name and prove that he is in fact, in his office is in fact incompetent, he needs to provide the evidence that he's incompetent.
Well, the whistleblower apparently also worked with John Brennan for a time. Connect the dots here, because you've been exposing the fraud by a cabal of individuals, whether under the leadership of John Brennan at the CIA or Jim Comey at the FBI.
Well, look, and that's the other problem here with the ICIG, is this ICIG actually has connections, was a lawyer for some of the very people that were involved in the FISA abuse scam. So all of this becomes intertwined and related, and we need to get to the bottom of it. And look, the ICIG, in theory, works for Congress. So why he would not provide evidence, which is really the IG's, that's their game, right? That's what Horowitz proved, is they're very good at getting emails and evidence that exist within the bureaucracy. So this is not hard for the ICIG to provide us all the documentation on their supposed stupidity.
Let me move on and ask you for some reaction to this David Kris naming. I know you obviously have a lot of experience with this individual. The surveillance court picks ex-DOJ leader David Kris to review FBI reforms. We know that Christopher Wray is coming out with reforms. We're going to show some of the headlines that David Kris wrote about you and about the Nunes memo, which, of course, as we know, was 100% true when you first came out with that Nunes memo, which was exposing the wrongdoing and the attempted coup to take down then candidate Trump and then President Trump.
Well, look, I don't know this gentleman. I remember at the time there were conspiracy theorists out there who were saying that they were accusing me essentially of committing crimes, when in fact it was the FBI and the dirty cops and the Clinton people that were engaged in this conspiracy to try to take out the President of the United States. So the fact that of all the people in the swamp, I mean, granted, the swamp isn't very big, but, you know, there are several million people that live in this area. This is the guy that you come up with, the guy that was accusing me of federal crimes, the guy that was defending the dirty cops at the FBI. I mean, look, that's why I said this last night in a tweet. The court must be trying to abolish itself because there is long-term damage. I mean, this is just another misstep. Remember, The judge from last year that now that was in charge of all these FISAs, she claimed at the end of the year, which was great, oh my God, there was a problem here, we need the FBI to do something. Well, that in and of itself was essentially a lie, or very close to a lie, because she knew from the House Republicans that there was a fraud on the court. They had more information and evidence than we did. And so now you have a new judge that's been put in place, and he picks one of the guys that was essentially covering up for the dirty cops. You can't make it up. I guess we're just going to have to abolish this whole FISA system at this point and try to build something new. I don't think the American people and Republicans in Congress, if this continues, you're going to have a continued concern amongst Republicans, conservatives, that there's really something wrong with the FBI. And I don't think that there is. I think they're doing a really good job on a number of fronts.
Which
but
is why
this
this
not
program
acceptable.
has been calling for accountability in the face of all of this. Congressman, I know you'll get it. Thank you so much. We will keep following your work on this. Congressman Devin Nunes.